I don't know. Um, so yeah, it feels like a long time already. Maybe I can say a few words to start what my journey was, because I think the introduction was maybe a little bit short for you. So yeah, so basically, yeah, we'll start in 2011. In 2011, yeah, I did a bachelor's degree in management, then a master's degree in finance and accounting at HUC in Lausanne. And yeah, during this period, I started thinking about entrepreneurship. I launched a few projects basically just to make money, like small SMEs. We were importing and selling cars. We also had a small accounting firms that we made accounting for small SMEs. So that was really my introduction to this very exciting world of entrepreneurship. And then I also had a corporate experience at Ernst & Young, which is one of these big four companies that most of you might know. So I don't only have an entrepreneurship background, and I also founded a totally different company just out of passion in healthy foods. It's called The Spot in Lausanne. It's small restaurants. Obviously now it's not really the best time to found this type of companies, but yeah. But what is most important for you, I think, is my main experience today, and it's like Marwan said, we founded Buildigo in just before 2016 when I was still studying, and it's a Swiss marketplace online where you can find trusted pros to get anything done in your home. So some of you might not be from Switzerland, and in other countries there are these type of platforms already. But in Switzerland, we missed a bit this kind of model. That's why we started it. And then we grew the company from 3 to 12 full-time employees, which may not sound that much, but it's already, you need to make quite a lot of money already to pay 12 people. So it's quite great that we managed to do this. And then, like Marwan said, we made an exit this at the beginning of this year. La Mobilier acquired us, so now we're working with this big insurance company to be the number one platform in Switzerland. So yeah, that's a bit the journey. Hope this was not too fast and it helps clarify why I allow myself to speak to you today and to take a bit of your time. So yeah, so the first slide before we dive in, I would just like to tell you what I felt when I went out of university and how I look at it today. And you all have probably very good papers now. You can all pretend to a very good position, I think. So you can take the left path and get a job, or choose the right path and create your startup. It's a very tough decision to make. And if you choose the right path, I would like to tell you to be prepared, because most people will tell you it's very exciting, it's fun, and so on. But it's obviously not only that. It's a very difficult journey. A lot of hurdles are waiting for you. So yeah, don't hesitate to reach out to me or to other entrepreneurs to ask for help if you choose that path, because we know what it is. You will see your friends having very good jobs, earning good money, and you will not at the beginning. So yeah, just wanted to make a quick note on this. And then I think we can dive into it. And Marwan, you're supposed to ask the questions, right? Or should I?
You can get started with the presentation. I'll be reading the questions that we get also in the chat, so that it's more practical for you. But yeah, and right now you're going to talk to us about how can we deliver a unique customer value with our business?
Yes, exactly. So the first question was, why did you start your business? Sorry, there's an R missing there. Yeah, actually, we thought, yeah, there is something missing here. We experienced a really difficult problem that it's very hard to find a pro to do anything in your home, like to do painting or a good plumber and so on. You have these public listings, but you don't really know who to call, who is available, and who is qualified to do the job. And in 2018, in 2016, it was for us unacceptable to still have to go to the yellow pages. So that's really why we started basically to solve a problem. That's why we started the business. And yeah, the unique customer value, that's a very tough question, actually. I was a bit unhappy that you asked me this, because it's that everything is there, actually. And so for us, it was really about solving an obvious problem. And we experienced this problem ourselves. So it was quite easy for us to find the solution, because we were a target of this product. So I would say a good way to find a unique customer value is to experience the problem yourself. That would be my main advice. And also, then, in every decision you take, when you develop this solution, ask yourself if this decision brings value to your clients, because you can be trapped very quickly in the daily business and lose track of your customer. So this is good to keep in mind, even if it's obvious, if you see it like that. And yeah, we realized we had a unique customer value when we launched the platform and got a very good traction on the market, and the word of mouth worked very well. So we had customers that were very happy, and they came back. And not only did they come back, but they also referred our platform to their relatives, to their family and friends. So I think that's the best proof you can have that you have a unique customer value there, from my perspective. And to get the feedbacks from potential customers, I would say before you launch, it's very difficult, and that's why we always say that you should launch an MVP, the minimum viable product, quite quickly, because then you can really get a feedback of the market. And we wasted a lot of time getting feedback from fellow students, friends, and basically they will most of the time tell you what you want to hear. So it's a bit dangerous to ask this type of panel for feedback, and it can also mislead you. So I would really be careful on who you listen to in that stage. That's a bit my experience. And regarding the traps for entrepreneurs, there are several. I think the first one is to fall in love with your idea. Like you have this product in mind, and you want for sure to deliver this project. You don't pivot, you don't change your mind. And we have seen some of our friends doing that, and it's not really a good idea. And also taking too much shortcuts. So yeah, I heard a lot the sentence "fake it until you make it," which now I don't like that much, I have to say, because one day you will want to make an exit or to involve investors or partners, and they will know if you faked it, because they will run a really tough due diligence before they invest in your company. So be careful with the shortcuts, I would say. And also, when you develop the products, we also asked ourselves, do we outsource the developments in Poland or in Ukraine or in India? And actually, I'm not saying you cannot have quality code and stuff in this country, because yeah, you can, but sometimes it's better to do things well yourself. I would say don't run too fast into the outsourcing way. And also the buzzwords. So we heard a lot of pitches with blockchain, artificial intelligence, all those trendy words. And yeah, sometimes it can scare investors when you talk too much with these words, because they think you're hiding something. So yeah, I would say be careful with these words. And one of the main thing, don't be scared to talk about your project, because really the more you talk about it, the more you get feedback. And it's really not so much about the idea, because everybody has ideas. It's really about the execution. So yeah, talk about your idea. Really, if I can give you an advice, it's that one. And yeah, we also listened a bit to the wrong advice sometimes, because we had some coaches that didn't really know what we were doing. And quite quickly, you will be an expert in your own field, because if you spend 1 year developing the same projects, a coach will sometimes have less knowledge about your own stuff. So yeah, pick carefully, I would say, who you listen to. And yeah, and also pick the right fights, I would say, because it's really important to raise funds, and timing and momentum is very important to raise funds. And you should pick a bit, I think, a trendy project, or a project that lives in your time. We were lucky to do that because, for example, for us, insurance companies are very interested in digital marketplaces models. So that's that's why we managed to raise funds, because the timing was there. So yeah, I think that's it for that slide. I'm sorry if I talk too much. I hope this is not too hard to follow. And yeah, now we're on to the business plan. So do you need a business plan from the start? I was asked this question. I would say we never did a business plan at Bilgo, to be very honest with you. I would really give you the advice to work on your pitch and don't waste too much time on the business plan, for one reason, is that it will change a lot over time. So if you're at an early stage, I would say business plan is maybe an overkill, from my perspective. But what you should do, however, is a strong financial plan, because at the end, will it or not, it's all about the money. So you should be careful not to run out of money, and to have enough money to fulfill your goals. So any HSC or business student knows what a financial plan is. And I think you should not have too much problem setting up a financial plan. And yeah, I would also, this is a very good advice I was given, is really imagine yourself in 5 years. So at the top of the mountain, you succeeded, you reached your goals, and look back and think, how can I get there now? From where I stand, how can I get there? Yeah, it may sound obvious, but I think that's a good mind framework. And then what are some good resources to get started? Yeah, I will really give you only one book, and I think all of you probably know it. It's the Art of the Start, and especially for the pitch, I followed this the advices that are in this book, and it turned out pretty well. Investors were quite happy with our pitches. So yeah. Yeah, now to the co-founder team and developments, which is probably the most important slide, actually. And I was asked if I started in a small group or alone. Obviously, I did not start alone. I think it's very hard to go on this journey alone, especially for motivation reasons. You will face hurdles, and sometimes it's really good to have someone beside you, which has a better motivation than you at sometimes. So you really your product will only get as good as the team is. And we were very selective on the first team members. We hired 2 very good engineers as co-founders, and they built the product very well from the start. And this is, now looking back, also one of the reasons why we succeeded, because we also sold a good technology. So yeah, definitely I would say don't start alone, and look for co-founders. And yeah, decision making between co-founders. We often say alone you can go fast, but you can go far, because yeah, of course it's faster to take decisions alone. But I would say we had a sentence in front of our meeting office that said, leave your ego at the door. And the reason is that we realized that ego was making us take wrong decisions very often. because the one that speaks the loudest, yeah, we take his decision, and it's not necessarily the right one. So really, it's not really about is it your decision or not. It's really about is it the best decision, and yeah, ego shouldn't have its place in a meeting room for me. That's my main advice. And yeah, just the how to split the shares between co-founders. I got asked this several times, and yeah, we saw some companies with very different percentages. Like one shareholder had 80% and the others had 10%, or even worse. And it's quite hard to motivate a team, I would say, if they don't have a strong incentive. So I would say it's better to have a small part of something that is worth a lot than a huge part of something that is worth nothing. And if your team is not motivated, you're most likely going to have something that is worth nothing, in my opinion. So I would say if you have co-founders, try to have a good distribution of the shares. For us, it was also a good experience with this. Yeah, maybe there are different models, but I'm just sharing my experience here, obviously. And yeah, how did we proceed to develop our idea? We started in an accelerator. So there was a small accelerator at the University of Lausanne. We were actually the first startup in this accelerator, and it was only about meeting some coaches. So we met two coaches that's looking back were very valuable to us, because they had a huge experience in the industry, and yeah, so I would really start reaching out to these type of people that can help you. And from there, then we went out of this accelerator, and we went on our own, and then it was on to fundraising, which I think is the next topic. But yeah, I think it's good to start with at university or in an accelerator where you can get public support. That was for us a good experience. And yeah, regarding the funding, so Marwan asked me if you need a lot of money to start or if you can start with nothing. I would say you don't need that much to start. Today we're very lucky, because with the internet and the digital world, there's a lot of free services out there, and you can do things yourselves. And yeah, it's known as bootstrapping in the startup world. So I would say, no, you don't really need a lot of money to start your business. Well, it depends what you're doing. In the digital world, you don't need that much. But then when it comes to scaling your company, it's a different world. So I would say you need money. It's not a fairy tale out there. Your competitors have money. So if you don't have money, you have very big disadvantage. And yeah, so you need to raise funds to scale your business. I think that's probably an obvious answer. And the success will depend a lot on your ability to raise funds. So I had the honor to be the manager or the CEO of this company, and I was the one who had to raise funds. So it turned out very quickly to be a full-time job. I did only that, and sometimes it's a bit misunderstood, but raising fund is extremely time-consuming. You need to go see a lot of investors, pitch all the time, do another pitch, adapt your pitch to every investor. Yeah, follow up. So I think you should prepare yourself to have a difficult and time-consuming experience there, but I'm sure you will succeed. And I would say use public funds as much as possible. In Switzerland, we're lucky that we have public support for innovation. We had support from InnoSwiss, so they do R&D grants. So basically, it's a grant that they give you. It's not a loan. when we received it, it was between 200 and 1 million, usually the grant they gave. And this money, you can use it you can only pay for R&D with this money. So you have to work with with a university, for example, EPFL or ETH in Zurich. But if you have a product that requires R&D, then I would say this is a good way to go. And you should definitely pursue that option. There's also in this Canton de Vaud, Canton de Vaud for the Germans, the FIT, Fondation pour l'innovation technologique. So I put the word careful because, yeah, it's great what they do. I love it, the support they give. But we had a loan from them, and yeah, obviously a loan you have to pay it back. And this loan was made to our company, but you had to, as a private person, guarantee the loan as well. So if your company goes bankrupt, you still have to repay the loan. They do different type of supports, but I would say be careful with loans and don't take too much debt on your personal private shoulders. It's almost was a bad decision for us. So yeah, and the same goes for Questionnement Roman. They also help you get loans, but again, it's in your private name, so be careful. You have a quite high chance also not to succeed, unfortunately. So if you don't, you'll have to pay it back privately. So I would say be careful. You can use it, but think twice. And there are obviously other support, like the engineering school of Yverdon is also giving out grants. So yeah, public support is great. Then, yeah, obviously you have the family in France. We got initial funding from there a bit, but not that much. Obviously, it's a good way to go at the beginning. Business angels, there are some business angel circles in Switzerland. So you can go there, pitch your product. We managed to get some money from there as well. So that's also a good way. And for me, it's a best today, and that's what's worked best for us, or big corporates, like, for example, insurance or banks, or I don't know what. And for them, digitization and ecosystems are two very important keywords today. So if your project makes sense for them, they will be interested in hearing about it and probably invest. They invest quite a lot. So yeah, that's an interesting way to go. Yeah. Just a quick word on legal and taxes. I was also asked to give you a few feedbacks there. For those who don't know, you don't necessarily need to create your company in the trade register to start your business. Legally, you need to make a turnover of 100K per year or above. That's when you really need to file your company, but before not. And I would strongly advise to create a limited company or a limited liability company, because yeah, you need some money for it. It's not money that you will pay. It's money that you need to have on a bank account and that you can use. So it's 20K for a limited liability company or 50K for a limited company. And this just allows you not to involve your personal responsibility, which is very important. So you don't take risk in your own name. So the claims are filed against the company, the debts are in the name of the company. So yeah, do this as soon as possible, I would say. And also sign a shareholders agreement. We say better be safe than sorry. Even if your co-founders are your friends, it can turn out bad with your friends as well. So you better have everything written in the contracts between you. It's quite a normal procedure today to do that. So you should not really upset your co-founder if you ask for this. And yeah, basically it's also if one day you want to sell and one of the co-founders doesn't want to sell, what do you do? This type of things should be written in a paper, I think. And yeah, if you have the choice, if you're lucky to have enough money to make a limited company, I would say go for it. It's much easier to split shares between co-founders, and it's also clear. And limited company are by far the favorite structure for investors because, yeah, it's really easy to transfer shares. You don't have to go to the public notary every time. And sometimes they don't want to disclose their name. They don't want to publicly disclose that they invested in your company. So they really like this. And if you get acquired one day, I think, yeah, your company will be changed to a limited company probably every time. So yeah, go for that if you can. Quick note on accounting. I know it's obvious, but really keep your book clean because yeah, we had a very tough due diligence when we make the exit to La Mobilière, and you can be sure that they will check your books. So they will really make sure that everything was made clean. And even if you don't make an exit, having clean books is good because it will fire back big time if you don't. You will forget some things. The tax administration will yeah will make your life difficult. So yeah, don't forget about this really. And also an advice that I will really like you to listen to, especially in those times. Um, Pay for your social security and unemployment insurance, even if you have only very small salaries. I wrote I wrote you will thank me later because yeah, if your company doesn't work and one day you need to go to the unemployment, le chômage in French, then you will be able to. And if you haven't paid it, if you haven't paid your insurance, then you will receive nothing, and this is really horrible. So yeah, I would say don't forget about this. Yeah, last quick words on taxes. VAT. So you only need to file your company for VAT if you make above 100K. I know it's a bit more complicated than that if there are some lawyers in the call, but that's the basics, I would say. And yeah, if you register your company, you will have to add the VAT on your invoices to your clients, but you will also be able to deduct the VAT on everything you purchase and buy for the company. And there are two methods. Our lovely tax administration lets us choose out of two methods. And I would really say go with the normal method, méthode effective in French, because it allows you to deduct all the VAT that you pay. And especially at the beginning for a startup where you make significant investments, you can deduct everything. And with the other method, you cannot. It's just that you multiply your turnover by a percentage. So yeah, careful with that, I would say. And yeah, the profit tax, also file your tax returns, and you will not pay any profit taxes in the first year because you will make losses most likely. But actually, losses are very important for when you make an exit, because it's an asset for your acquirer, because losses can be offset with future profits, and there you can save a lot of taxes. So if you file your tax returns, then you validate these losses, and it's an important topic for your acquirer. And he will also want to know if everything is clear with the tax administration. So yeah, don't forget to do that, I would say. Yeah, I think I already talked a lot. I hope I haven't lost you. And this is the main advice I got from our very first mentor we got from HEC Lausanne, and it's two words. It's reach out. Really, nobody ever said no to me, even CEOs, bosses of very large companies. When I ask for advice, they were always happy to help. So don't hesitate to reach out to me or to anyone else to ask for help. So yeah, I think we're on to the questions now. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much, Raphael, for this very interesting presentation. I think you went really over all the important topics. That was very educational. So we're going to move on to the questions. I'm going to be reading the questions from the chat.
Yeah.
If you're somebody who would like to ask a question yourself, you can also raise your hand on the participants list and we will be able to see you. But starting off now with the questions on the chat. So the first question is about your work, Raphael.
Yes.
The question is, are you now working at La Mobilière still on the same project or different tasks, or do you have other plans?
Yes, so La Mobilière bought the company, and usually when someone buys a company, they buy the team with it because a lot of value is in the team. So they acquired the team as well. So we are all still working for this project, and it's still the same company. It's still Buildigo SA. We're not working for La Mobilière. We're just owned by La Mobilière. So yes, I'm still working for it, and now I'm responsible to develop the products. And we want to be the leader in Switzerland in the coming years. So it's quite a big challenge.
Thank you. Another question is, what's your opinion on venture kick?
Venture kick. So we did not participate in venture kick. I know they make also some grants. I have a friend who got a grant from them, and he got a very good experience with them. So personally, I don't have an experience, but I heard only good feedbacks.
And we have another question from Nicolas. How would you say we should look for a co-founder if we don't have one already?
Yes, so generally, I think look in your network. I mean, for me, the people I had in my network were friends from the engineering school, so I knew them personally. And otherwise, I would say in every university there are these entrepreneurship circles, and I think you can join these events. And if you need an engineer, I mean, go to events at the EPFL and so on. But yeah, I mean, I was very lucky to have the right people in my network. So maybe I'm not the right person to tell you here.
Thank you. And we have another question, which is regarding the share splitting.
Yes.
Can you share verbally your original cap table?
Yes. Yeah, for sure. So the cap table, we were 4 investors. And the one who had the most had 30% of the company. Yeah, it was me actually. I was lucky to have the most because I started at the very, very beginning, and the other had an even share, so they all had the same share. So basically 20%, a bit more. So it was like 30, 22, 22, 22, 22, or something like that. So 3 times 22 and 1 times 30.
Thank you.
Does it answer the question?
Yeah. If the person has a follow-up question, you feel free to ask it. Either raise your hand or ask a follow-up question in the chat. The next question is a very important question from Alessandra. How do you motivate team members when you still have no funding and no way to pay them?
Yeah, that's exactly when the shares come into play. I mean, the shares are, when you have shares, you have this perspective that one day these shares will be worth something. So if you have new employees, then I think options are a very good way. Like, you don't have to issue new shares. You can give them options on new shares that you will issue later. So yeah, being part of the capital of the company is highly motivated, and I mean that's what startups have been doing since the last I don't know, 20, 30 years. It's that you don't have money, you need something else, then you give shares or options to your employees, and that's it. Yeah.
Thank you. And so the next question, somebody says, if I understood correctly, you started your startup while working in Ernst and Young. If so, how did you manage to work and build a startup? And do you recommend having a job while creating a startup?
So yeah, that's a very good question. So yes, I started indeed. I was working, and very quickly I realized that this startup wouldn't take off if I didn't commit 100%, and the same for some of my co-founders. So at one point, you need a commitment. I would say in the very early stage, it's good to have a side job, and if you can reduce your working time, that's very good. Like we had our two engineers at the beginning, they reduced to 80% and then to 60%. So it's very good if you have some flexibility because you need an income. I mean, everybody needs to live. We especially in Switzerland where it's quite expensive. So yeah, if you have a side job, that's good. But for me, my job was too time consuming. It was really not possible for me to do the same. So to do the both things at the same time. So yeah.
And somebody's asking for a little precision on the legal part a couple of slides ago. Do you mean that you can sell or have clients without incorporating if your annual revenues is not above 100K, sorry?
So yes, you can have clients if you don't incorporate your company. I mean, we are a craftsman platform, and we met a lot of craftsmen who never incorporated their company. They made sure to stay below 100K every year, so that they also don't have to pay the VAT and so on. So yes, the answer is yes, you can.
Thank you. And then also regarding the legal part with non-incorporating with a revenue 100, under 100K, the person says, I guess corporate customers don't want to buy your product service if they can't get an invoice to pay to a corporate bank account. How can you invoice as a non-incorporated company?
Yes, that's a very good point that I missed. Obviously, the trust is much higher if you have an incorporated company, but you can still act in your own name. But that's a bit. I would say if you launch a project with co-founders, yeah, that's really not good. But you don't have to incorporate a limited company or a limited liability company. These are just my advice. There are other forms that require no money or only the fees from the trade register, like $200, and it's the raison individuelle in French, so individual company, or the partnership, société en nom collectif in French. You can incorporate these if you want, but then all the risk is on you. That's just a problem. But yeah.
Great. How do you recommend accurately estimating the total available market and the serviceable market?
Yeah, yeah, good point there as well. So yeah, just a quick story. We in the first pitches we made, we had this top-down approach. So we estimated the total markets, and then we say, yeah, we can have 3% of this total market, and this is the amount. And we realized that investors they don't really like this because they think it's somehow it doesn't make sense very often. The bottom-up approach is much better. It's like, hey, how much customers can I generate, and how much money can I make with every customer? So defining the size of the markets. I mean, we use the statistics of the OFSP, the Office Fédéral de la Statistique in French, to calculate, to make our calculations. But we stopped with this. Yeah, I think maybe it's not that important to have this number, honestly. That's just my opinion.
Thank you very much. So right now we don't have any other questions in the chat. Are there any other questions from people? So feel free to either type them in the chat or raise your hand so you can ask them um, directly. We'll just take a few seconds. All right. Oh, we've got another question coming in. You got an R&D grant. What was R&D in your company?
Yes, yeah. Actually, that's good because it's not really a R&D intensive project. I mean, we're mostly a service company and also a bit a tech company because, yeah, we use technology, but we don't sell technology. So we actually had a side project. So it wasn't a platform, it was another project in virtual reality. So the goal was to let the user visualize what his home could look like with a new kitchen, a new floor, and new walls, and so on. So yeah, we got the grant thanks to this project. It was even augmented reality actually, but we ended up not having time on focusing on both projects. So yeah.
Thank you very much. There was somebody asking if the presentation is going to be shared to us. Yes, it is going to be shared. It's recorded. And also we have a question from Letitia saying, you said you didn't participate to Venture Kick. Was it for a particular reason? How do you decide where to participate and where not, particularly regarding contests?
Oh yeah, yeah. We realized contests are quite time consuming. I mean, it's good these contests, huh? But they take a lot of time to prepare, and we didn't have time to do every contest, so we just picked the one we believed we had the most chances, and it was InnoSuisse, and it was also the fit. So that's why we picked them, and it was also because we knew some members. So some teachers that had an influence a bit there who could a bit vouch for us, tell, okay, these guys are serious and so on. So yeah, that's how we chose. But I'm not saying Kick is not good.
Thank you. We have a question from Steve. How can I rethink my startup business if I develop the first prototype with which I am unhappy, but the technology still has potential for market?
Yeah, I would say maybe why are you unhappy with it? That would be my question. I mean, I would be interested to have a discussion rather than to give just an answer out of the blue. But I would say if you really believe in it, don't let go because probably it has potential. But I would really challenge with experts in your field. I don't know in which field you are, but I would really look for expertise and how people can help you adapt your product. Maybe you have the right product, but you don't have the right model along with this product, so you're not selling it in the right way, or and so on. So yeah, I would ask for help and to challenge it.
Thank you. We have a question from Sven. How did the motivation in the team change after the exit to La Mobilière, since it was less of a startup style after the exit? He's guessing.
Yes. It turned out to we switched to a more corporate mindset a bit. I guess that's normal when you have a huge corporate entering. But honestly, you also have a different level of I have to say it's comfort, because the salaries, then suddenly you earn your life very well compared to before where you had to make sacrifices. So I would say the motivation really got up actually, because we also now have the resources to do everything. We don't have to question ourselves, hey, do we have enough money for this marketing campaign and so on. Basically today is if it's the right way to go, then we do it, and it's not really, money is not that much a limiting factor anymore. And yeah, it's really motivating to have also a strong partner that trusts you and gives you this freedom. So it went up, really. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Can a university that was your host for R&D grant and supplied you with some resources like a platform, services, supplies, etc., claim a share in your company?
Actually, with InnoSuisse, they don't claim any share in your company. They just basically give this money to the university, and they spend it with you on your projects. You never touch the money. Actually, it's given to the university directly. I know there are some other grants that actually can claim a part, but these grants I talked about, they don't.
Thank you. We still have a bunch of other questions, but just before we move on to the next questions, which usually when we do events, we take a picture to share the event. Now, today that means taking a screenshot of the Zoom because that's the world we live in. So we're just going to take a little screenshot in a few seconds. So if you're okay being on the picture, feel free to put on your camera. If not, you can remove it. But if you want to, put on your camera so we see your face. It's always more fun. And I'm going to wait for Sebastian to take a picture. Can you let me know when it's all good?
Yep, let me just do it. Let me find it. Wait. Can you it? Like the short
well, we can
work. I don't know why.
We can actually move on to the next question while you're doing it, I guess. So we have also a question from Alessandra, which is, in your opinion and from your experience, what is the main reason a startup could fail?
Yeah, there are so many. I think it's easier to answer why could a startup succeed. It's much faster to answer this question. But why could a startup fail? If I had to put one strong reason, it's the lack of funds. It almost killed us, I have to say, honestly. We had a strong team. We had the motivation. I think we had the right project as well, looking back now. But the lack of cash, it's really something that can kill you. And on that point, I would say you should manage not for profits, really manage for cash. It's not really about making profit in the first year. It's really, do I have something on the bank left to pay my bills? So yeah, money, I would say.
Okay, the screenshot is done.
Okay, the screenshot is done. Great. So we have a question that's similar to a question that was just asked before. It also has to do with R&D in universities. So in the case of R&D, VR grant project in collaboration with the university, if it results in a patent for the university, are they paid from the grant to get overhead money, etc.?
Yes, so that was quite surprising because we expected the university to claim something on the patents, but they didn't. So all the rights were in the name of the company only. So that's absolutely amazing. I think that's Switzerland allows this. It really supports innovation, and they don't take it from you. It's really your thing. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. You talked a bit about business models. How important is it to set the right model, and how do you choose it? Fadel is a bit curious about the way of selecting a model that matches one's business idea.
Yes. Yeah, we had several changes in the business model. So some business models are really tough to implement, although you would make more money. And some of them are easier. If I can just give an example for us at the beginning. So on one side, we have clients, homeowners that want to get anything done in their home. On the other hand, we have the craftsmen who do the job. And what we wanted is to take a cut on the job that is done in the home of the homeowner. But it was so hard to do because you have to keep track of every job. You have to know which craftsmen signed with who, when they did the job, and so on. So we ended up changing and only selling the contact information to the pro. So when the pro accepted the job, we gave him the contact, the phone number, the email of the client, and then he paid. So I would say, really think about what you have the resources to implement as a model. And now that we have money, we are changing again to the first model, because now we have the resources to do it. So I would say go with the resources you have, and pick something easy if you have to. I hope this helps a bit, but yeah, that would be my answer.
Thank you. What was your method to find and prove the product market fit?
Yeah, I think the product market fit can be proven only on the market. I also have read all these books that, yeah, you have all these steps where you can test the product market fit and so on. But for us, it was really when the craftsmen started paying us, started paying the bills for the clients we sent them, and not complaining, being happy, then we realized we had a fit there. And yeah, I would say that's I know it's an easy answer, but that's really the best proof you have a fit. It's that the customers are willing and happy to pay. Yeah.
So we have time for a couple more questions. So if you have a question right now, feel free to just send it in.
Do we have some people left, or?
Oh yeah, we have some a good number of people left.
Yeah.
Everybody's asking for somebody else to ask the perfect question. So let's see if there are no other questions. We will. Oh, here we go. Do you think of founding another startup yet?
Yeah, a very, very difficult question. Yeah. Yes. I mean, you meet a lot of entrepreneurs along the journey, and these guys are often people who have tons of idea, and they send you ideas all the time. They will call you, hey, we should do this, we should do that. So yeah, I have some ideas I'm thinking of, and of course it's so exciting to launch a project that's probably one day I will start again. Yeah, I hope so. But for now, I think I would like to finish the work because it's not done yet. So yeah, we will finish the work with this project, and then we'll see. But yes, I will be happy to in the future.
Thank you very much. And so, same story. If you have any questions right now, either raise your hand or ask in the chat. We have about 2 more minutes for potential questions. So we don't seem to have any more questions right now. So I would like to thank you. We would all like you to thank you very much, Rafael, for this amazing presentation. Also, all your answers to these very important questions for startup. And so yeah, I'm just looking and seeing some people commenting. Anything you'd like to close with? Yeah, feel free if you have anything else to say.
Yeah, so on my side, I mean, thank you very much all for your time. Was very honored, I mean, to share my experience with you. I really hope you got something out of it. And as I said, if I can help you in any way, don't hesitate to reach out, honestly, even on my phone. I'm more than happy to help entrepreneurs because I know how difficult it is, and I know how valuable support can be. So yeah, don't hesitate, really.
Thank you very much. We'll make sure to perhaps send your contact information as a follow-up email. Yeah, so thank you everybody for attending. We hope that was as interesting for you as it was for us. And yeah, have a great evening, everybody. We will be sharing the recording to everybody who registered. And I wish you all a good evening.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Good evening. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Si vous avez des questions, les réponses très volontiers. Est-ce qu'il y a des questions?